suitable for general family viewing.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Realtor. My name is Robert Dungo, and as usual, we are here because we have something new for you. I told you and I've been telling you that our assignment is singularly one, just to go out there, get the latest and bring it right here. And that's why The Realtor is always the property show all the time. And at this particular time, we're here because we have heard you cry. Youth there and you're youth. Youth there, you are youth at heart. Or even youth there and you feel you've not accomplished your investment journey as you had planned, or even what is in your mind. Now, this particular time, I want us to look at youth and investment, and particularly property investment. And why this? It's simply because the biggest population we have in the nation is, of course, youth. And this is why we also thought it is important to go out there, get the latest when it comes to property share, or rather the property market share, and more so when it comes to young people. And young people, I don't want to demarcate the age. You are out there, you know yourself, you know your age, and you know the property you have. We have gone out and gotten, or rather we're lucky to have on-site property expert who has capitalized on getting the latest for you, especially the young and the young at heart. This is none other than the Property Hall Managing Director is Madam Terry. Karibu Sada. And indeed, you are youthful. I don't know whether that's why you are looking so much into youth, or it's just what came, or rather what your specialization is all about. Kindly say hi, tell us who is Terry as you get deeper.
Thank you, Robert, and the entire team for having me. My name is Terry Nganga. I'm the director of Property Hall Investment Limited, and we sell properties, we advise people, and we make sure that you get the best out of real estate investing. I always tell people real estate investing is for the future and it's for now.
Yes,
so
yes.
When you're talking about the youth, you never go wrong with real estate, because today you're 30. In 10 years' time, in 20 years' time, just let's talk of in the next 30 years' time.
Why don't you say that slowly?
You'll be retired.
I know there are people who are like, now, I'm 30, next 10 years, 40.
Yes, yes. And you always have to plan for your retirement. Immediately you get your first paycheck.
Right.
So if you don't start this investing early, you'll get the prices have just gone up.
Sure.
You don't have the funds, the responsibilities are high.
Right.
So what happens? You'll be in that cycle of what I call the black tax, whereby now your children will have to take care of you because you did not secure that desired future on time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, black tax.
Yes, black tax.
Okay.
It's a terminology that most of us are facing. And for me, I just actually thank God, thank my parents that I was not, they were able to cut off the cycle of the black tax, whereby you take care of your parents. That is ideally what the black child or most of the Africans are doing. You get work, yes, even if your parents were at work, they did not secure that desired future. So after they retire, you end up having to take care of them.
Right.
Yes.
And I believe that's a very good terminology to start this show when you talk about the black tax. And of course, you say you are youth, and you remember we have said all this about you. And when you talk about youth taking care of their parents, and then you yourself as a youth, your kids taking care of you, then this is the kind of chain that you're going to break now. And that's why Terry is here. Get ready with a pen and book, because of course these notes are to make you better and better when it comes to property investment in this journey. Now, Terry, when you talk about youth and investment, maybe give us a nutshell of where we are currently as a nation.
I can say the youth they are getting there, but the older generation is currently what those are the people who are investing more.
Right.
One, because of the funds. Two, the responsibilities, yes, they are there, but they are looking at it. How do I ensure that I will be able to still take care of my family, of myself, even in the later years? The excitement with the youth, whereby when they get the money or they get their paycheck, and now the next thing is maybe buying vehicles, going out of town, parties and all that. Before they settle, time imesonga kidogo. So the youth, yes, we still have a good group of people who have now come to realize if they take care of themselves right now, it will be easier going forward. But let's just say they are getting there.
Now, as a parent and also as a counselor, as an advisor, is it a narrative or youths in Kenya are getting it wrong when it comes to priority or prioritizing their agenda?
I can't say there's a huge change, because I'll give an example with my son. I don't know that it's because he has seen me do this, but he was just telling me how his game plan for the next like 10 or so years is. He's 15 right now, and I'm like, okay, if this is how the youth are thinking, it means there is a big change in terms of information is now out there. If you look at how much we've tried to tell people, invest. So they may not, there's just that small group that may not have their priorities right, but they are really moving. Yes, they are really moving. Each and every day, I always get people reaching out to me, asking me, can you mentor me to be able to be a good investor? Yes, they may not have the funds right now, but remember, whatever you put in your mind, you actually you'll end up actualizing. So when you look at such a person or these kind of people reaching out, you're like, yeah, their priorities nikazi na change.
And maybe before we get now to property as a bottom line, do we have an issue with parenting? And especially you as a mother, as a parent of a teenager who is graduating to a youthful person who is getting into investment, do we have an issue or do we need to tilt somewhere when it comes to parenting and investment?
I think yes, we need to do, because the more you hammer these ideas to them, the more they are able to get what you're telling them. Because I'll just take an example, like when they go on holiday, they're now in for holiday, and you end up maybe taking them each and every holiday, you're taking them out of the country. What are you showing them? Remember, it's not about the words you speak, it's about the action. So I've sat down with them, my children, and I'm like, okay, we cannot go for this holiday because I'm purchasing a certain piece of land. So initially they're like, oh, you want to tell me we can't forego? But I'm like, no, we cannot. And then few months later, they're like, oh, that was a good idea. Even that maybe holiday has not done what you've been able to accomplish. I always say it's not about the words, it's about the action. So even as we are parenting, show them what you want them to be, but not tell them. That way they'll become the citizen that you want. Yeah.
Great. Now, this is a real time. Sometimes we also get, we get to put ourselves in your shoe and listen to what is being said. And of course, if these things are taken literally and seriously, they're things that when put in place, our society will be good. And remember, when you talk about youth, we are not talking about those who left Form 4. We're not talking those who in their first years and second years. We're talking about anyone who have not started the journey of investment, because that is where we start. The stock stops at you when it comes to the journey, because you know where you are, and that's why Terry is telling us about parenting, and more so what you need sometimes to forgo, just to make sure that you instill some investment sense. And now, Terry, when it comes to the youth now at large, and I believe at 40 I'm still youthful. I don't know, the government cuts it at 35, but let's agree that we have a bigger scope of youthful people out there, both young parents, people who are not parents yet, but still at a youthful, or rather at a youth bracket. Now, when it comes to this, we are talking about property. Now we can narrow it down to property. How is the uptick? What percentage could you slot, or rather could you give to youth when it comes to property ownership?
Okay, I wouldn't give it a very huge percent. Remember, investing is after is from disposable income.
Yes.
So for you to save up, it may take you a few years. And that is now what the older generation has has been able to capture to to be able to take advantage of,
Right.
that they have the disposable income. They've been rising up the ranks in their jobs, business imeshika, so they have more disposable income.
Right.
But I can't dismiss that the kind of people who are buying even the kind of property that is not highly priced, it's the youth. Because they are looking at it, right now I don't have maybe children, or I have 1-2 children, they've not yet started going to school and all that.
Right.
So you get, can I say, I don't know, the 20% thereabout is a good...
and now, because I believe my first property that I ever bought, I was of course now within the very early stages of starting up the life, and I bought that property, and in this case land, a plot, without knowing what I'll do with it, without knowing where it is, but somehow I bought, and I don't regret to date. My question to this effect is, do we have or rather, you as Terry, what are you doing to make sure that youths are not intimidated by the cost implication, rather their hearts are out to invest? What are you doing?
Okay, I always tell people,
Right.
but depending on how much you have, just ensure that don't be intimidated by 250 million. Don't be intimidated by 3 million. Start with what you have,
Right.
because it also gives you a culture of saving.
Yes.
You see, when you bought that one piece of land, you now realize it is easy, it is doable.
Sure,
so
sure.
your mind was in it. Then now with that, it just became easier for subsequent.
Right.
But the issue comes with the starting.
Yes.
So if you don't start, you will never reach anywhere. So can you first start this journey?
Right.
Know what do you want to do with this piece of land? Is it under speculation? Is it maybe for home?
Right.
If it's for home, if you want to live in the upmarket, let's say Akina Karen, don't first go and buy. You may not even have the funds for Karen.
That's true.
Go where you can be able to buy, and then one time you may exchange these properties.
Sure.
If you look at what has been happening, even those people who bought over 20-30 years ago, those were places that were vacant.
Sure.
I'll give you a good example with Kahawasukari, because I visited Kahawasukari when I was young. That place was bushy, there were no roads, there was nothing. And a quarter was going for about 30,000.
Right.
What has happened right now? It has...
The best of suburbs.
Yes, it has the roads, it has the infrastructure.
Right.
So it's always said, first, no, don't wait to buy, but buy and wait. So you get your piece of land wherever, you wait for it.
The point is here, don't wait and buy, just buy and wait. And this narrative is so true when it comes to property, and especially land, because it never depreciates, but you need to make and to have your calculations right. Now, we are getting back after this short break, and our discussion is getting to now the core of this, whereby we want to know how vulnerable are the youths and the measures that both the investors are putting in place, and as well as government. What is the government doing just to make sure that our youth are empowered to own property and to own property seamlessly? Don't go far, we'll be right back. Wow, welcome back. This is a Realtor, and I believe by now you know the same person as we started. Now, this discussion is aimed at empowering you and also making you know that you can start from where you are. You don't have to have 250 million Kenyan shillings, but you can start from where you are. The point was, don't wait and buy, but you can buy and wait, because this one can be of exchange in a near future. We have Terry, and Madam Terry is a managing director, investment hall. Property Hall Investment, right? Property Hall Investment. I dare to interchange the ones because to me they mean one and the same. And what she's doing is just breaking it down, disintegrating, and making sure that it is consumable by anyone who is interested in investing in property. And now, Terry, welcome back. And thank you for where you have taken us.
Thank you.
invest in terms of investing. I think I'm also getting some insight. And you've told us to buy and wait, not wait and buy. Now, when it comes to this, what do you think should be done to our youth just to make sure that they invest?
I think it's all about education.
Right.
We have to keep hammering. We have to keep hammering this information.
Sure.
And the youth have to trust in themselves. Everything comes with the mindset that you have.
Right.
That if you believe you can, for sure you can. But if you believe you cannot, you'll never.
Yeah.
So believe in yourself that it is possible to own this kind of land. Everyone started with a journey.
Yes.
Unless those who've had inheritance. But even those who had inheritance, remember, it started from 0 to something. At times you need somebody to push you. Come in for the coaching programs.
Right.
Come in, we mentor you. We normally have mentorship programs every quarter. And I'm glad the kind of impact that it has had.
Right.
Because I count each and every day, two youths are reaching out, saying, Terry, can you come, can you be my mentor so that I'm able to move forward?
Right.
So for me, it's all about just believe in yourself and take action.
A very good point there, Terry. And when it comes to mentorship, I think it all takes, it is one of the biggest, agenda that we must take seriously when it comes to bridging the gap that is between the youth and investment. Now, when you talk about mentorship and you do it yourself, maybe before we come to how you do it as Terry, do you think there has been that gap of the mentorship gap in our society?
Yes, there has been, because like me, when I was growing up, I did not have somebody to mentor me.
Right.
It was my mom who I could see what she's doing, and then I took it up from there. But I think also with the internet, with the technology,
Right.
it has now opened up. And I always tell people, look for that mentor. Look for somebody to look up to.
Yes.
So that you're like, it said you're who you are because of the people you move with.
That's true.
So if you do not move with people who have land, so you will be having another story of partying. You move to people with people who are saying that their mansions are in heaven. Now, when will you ever own here on earth? That theirs is golden.
If your mansion is in heaven, and I believe Maggie will tell you to rent one and you live together so you can also do business in heaven. Please, let's start it here, because this is where Terry is, this is where I am, and this is where the realtor is making it real for you. And Terry, maybe before we get there, we've got so vulnerable youths there. Somebody who have saved, and they have their 500,000 at the end of the day. And they're like, whom do I trust? Having known the trend and the history of Kenyan market, especially when it comes to property investment, whom do I trust? Where do you take such a person? They have saved over years, maybe 5 years, they have 500,000, and they are like, now this is my first investment, I want to do land, and they don't know who to trust. Where do you take them?
Okay, I'll always tell them to come to me. But one of the things I tell, I say even like to the government, and a big kudos to them in terms of digitalization. When we have all the land registries digitalized, we're not going to have some of these issues. But again, as you're going to invest, have a background check.
Right.
Who are you dealing with? Not because I shouted loud that you realize. And then there are some things that look like a bit of get-rich-quick schemes. If I come and I'm telling you a piece of land, maybe like where I am in Roiro, is at 500,000.
Right.
Please do a background check. Will you get it at 500,000? And is it what is being sold at?
Right.
Because in most cases you'll get it's at a lower value. So this, when you get hooked with this lower value, you end up losing out. But whenever you do your due diligence, you'll always get you've been able to circumvent the fraud. And I was just looking at how the real estate market, we've been handling it. And I'm like, I think we also need to change how we are doing the business.
Right.
Whereby the seller, in most cases, is the one that has been making this land fraud, been enabling the fraud. So how do we also assist the buyers? And I'll be launching a certain product in the course of June, whereby we are saying we are not going to have anybody lose land. Why? Because once the buyer has committed and paid all the amount of money, he needs to be transferred the property to his name.
Right.
And then now thereafter, we are able to send the seller his money. That way we are assured nobody is going to lose out on the funds.
Right.
The seller will have, before he gets his money, as a company will have the money, but before the seller gets his money, for that land that is under agency, he will have transferred the property. Because you as a buyer, you will do due diligence on the company,
Right.
or the company Property Hall Investment Limited and its directors. Then you're like, okay, now I trust. Then now when I under agency means the land, we don't own it as a company,
Right.
but it is somebody else's like yours. But you as this buyer, did you do due diligence on the buyer, on the seller, sorry.
Right.
So as a company, we are now saying, if you want to sell any property with Property Hall Investment Limited,
Right.
those are the kind of guidelines that we are going to issue, so that now we ensure nobody is going to lose out on their hard-earned money.
Oh, wow. And therefore, I think you're trying to solve a problem that has remained, it has been a dilemma. Who will come and solve? Because I have cried out to the government, and of course there are these things that they are doing here and there, trying to digitalize, trying to bring in policies and all this. But as Rita goes out there, we still listen to the cry of young people, because some of them, there are people who have advanced in investment journey, and they're like, they lose 500 and they still continue with life. But there's someone who, when they lose 200,000, they're like, my life is gone. And these are the people. That's why we had to look for you, for your information. Sometimes you don't have to tell you, but after looking around and getting the answer, trying to get the answer to these people, that's why Terry is on this show today. And thank you very much. And now I believe you there. You are a youth, you are an investor, you are old, but some of these things that you are saying here are the same things that have been troubling your investment journey. And you know what? We're here simply because there's an answer for you. And don't keep quiet. Just share these with your friends. Tell them that Terry is here, and on top of selling you property, she offers consultancy, she offers agency services, just to make sure that you are not conned. Because let's not sugarcoat things and say this and that. There's a lot happening out there, and that's why you need to be careful, and especially if you are a first timer. I want us to now to come to closer. To the closure of this, and I want you to tell us now, as much as you're doing the mentorship programs, you are launching the agency whereby we can trust you to buy on our behalf. And I believe that's what most of us does out there. We use banks to buy property because they undertake the due diligence without problem. I want you to tell us now, I've got youths who are out there, and why we had to look for you is because, one, they are youth. Number two, they've been asking us, you bring us houses, you bring us apartments worth 5 million, 7, 12 million Kenyan money, and we are starters. What have you packaged for these people who are out there? Someone with a deposit of 200,000.
Okay, somebody with a deposit of 200,000. We have land. If I may start with Nairobi, in Malaa, that goes for 650. That is 50 by 100. We have others going for 950. And remember, there is usually a payment plan or the 90 days policy, whichever that you're able to pick up on. We have in Kitengela, even 550, Kisaju, that area. Then in Nanyuki, the area, now that it's very upcoming and lucrative, especially for the people out of the country. Most of them are saying they want to settle there when they come back. One, because of it's a bit quiet, but very advanced also. We have land going for 1.2. That's a whole acre. So if you get hold of maybe 7 people, 1.2, how much is that? And then now subdivide and get the land. Yeah, because I always tell people, you may not have the huge amount, but there's always something that you can do. There is a story about some boda people uko Kitengela. They were contributing 50 bob. Then they were able to buy a huge chunk of land and then subdivide and get each your title. That is what I can tell the youth. If you see 500 is high, can you look for a bigger chunk? Because when the chunk is bigger, 1 acre, 2 acres, it is cheaper than when it is 50 by 100.
Sure.
truth
Absolutely.
be told, yeah, because of the other costs that take place when you're subdividing into smaller
Small
portions.
portions, right.
So you can get hold of maybe 5 or 10 of your friends. Let's go to Nanyuki. Let's get an acre. Let's get 5 acres,
Right.
and then you subdivide. It's all about taking action. Do you are you moving and saying yes, it's possible with the little? I don't even call it little.
Yeah.
You may have a deposit of 200. It is not little, it's a lot. With that amount of money, what can you be able to do
Wow.
and take action?
So the bottom line here is starting and starting the journey, starting it together, starting it individually. I was doing that calculation as you talk. A place it was about 50,000 an acre. And now for 50,000, 50 by 100, that translates to a whole 3.6 million that acre. If you do away with your 50,000, you're talking about 3.55 thousand in a span of few years. So you there, the thing here is you start. And mind you, Terry said something that is very critical when it comes to your choice of where you want to do this investment, the purpose at which you want to use this land. Now, if it is speculative, then I just know that this is the time I want to speculate. If it is immediate settlement, know where you want to live, put to consideration, the amenities around. If you want to settle there immediately, are there schools, are there churches, how will your kids associate with the place, and so forth and so forth. And I think this is just a hub of knowledge, a bank of knowledge, and we really, really appreciate the property hall. I want you to wind up.
Yes.
Anything that I've not asked you, anything that you would want these young and youthful people to know?
When you start early,
Right.
you always make it right. When you start early, you always make it right. Yes.
No more, not much to say, and no more addition on what Terry has just concluded. You there, just do the necessary. And I promise you, I'm going to bring